Virginia smoke. OVS. Old Virginia smoke. OVS. Old Virginia smoke. OVS. Old Virginia smoke.
Welcome to Pitmaster, an Old Virginia Smoke podcast. I'm your host, Luke Darnell. Happy New Year to you all. Let's hope that 2021 is magically delicious and that we can all get back to some normalcy sometime soon. This week, to start off the new year, we have one of my great friends, Jerry Stephenson from Redneck Scientific. Jerry is one of the more interesting people that you'll find on the barbecue trail. He has a boatload of experience both inside and outside of barbecue, which has led him to many awards and also a successful restaurant called the Redneck BBQ Lab in North Carolina. There are a lot of great tidbits, tips, and thought processes in this conversation. A great way to start the new year as we get moving in 2021. So please join me in welcoming the Chief Redneck in Charge, Jerry Stephenson, to the podcast. Well, we're here today with Jerry Stephenson from Redneck Scientific. Head Redneck in Charge. How you doing, bud?
Doing good, Lukey.
Been working hard?
Yeah, working harder than man should work. Everybody just thinks it's just easy making dollars. You know, barbecue is so simple, so simple to cook in contests, so simple to do catering, so simple to do vending, so simple to run a restaurant. It's just you work a few hours a day and that's it. Yeah, man. I always say it's it's a rock and roll lifestyle minus the sex and the drugs.
Minus the sex and the drugs. That actually might be the title of this podcast.
Well, while I got you here, I was like, what is the rating on this podcast? Rated for FNL or rated Jerry? Or just kind of in between?
Rated Jerry. It's fine.
Yeah, no one wants full Jerry.
No, it's fine. I've been drinking a little myself because I've been looking so much forward to this podcast. We try and do something a little different here and dive into some different questions. And I love interviewing people that I know really well. I usually start these with a story, and I was like, I don't know which Jerry story to tell.
Oh God, I don't know either. That's the bad thing is I like to black out from a lot of them. Some things you just want to forget.
Right.
I ran the boat right this weekend, and all I was just sitting there. I was like, God, I remember I was just hammering that guy about play Beastie Boys so Luke would dance more. Luke won't dance unless Beastie Boys. Play Beastie Boys. Beastie Boys. Play Beastie Boys.
That was one of my favorites because you were like, play it. Come on, man. Play it.
8th time in a row. And dude was awesome. He was great. I called him in D.C. with Timmy up in D.C. on the barbecue battle D.C. experience, shake and bake barbecue battle experience.
Yeah.
And I usually just went over there, and I was like, dude, I walked right past Tim and walked up to him. I was like, man, I apologize for doing that. And he goes, dude, you were hilarious. It was just funny.
Well, you knew I was in my groove. You can't throw the emperor off his groove.
No, hell no. You and Joe Pierce, man, that was a YouTube moment. But YouTube didn't need to capture it because that would just ruin it. You know what I mean? Billions of views. You guys would be celebrities. You'd be on like freaking Oprah or something. You and Joe on The View talking about barbecue fashion and shit like that, And the dance-off would be epic. It'd be better than that douche, that Paul guy that had that fight. Beat up the NBA player.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, come on, dude. Not saying NBA players are weak. I know there's a bunch of those guys can bring it, but pick on a hockey player. Go pick one of those little guys out. Those little itty-bitty guys. You think that, and you get his ass waxed on the canvas a couple times.
Right. You never want to pick on the... I always, when I worked in the bars as a bouncer, it was like, I didn't care about the guy that was as big as me or I could take care of that. It was that little guy that he had something, he's got something on you, you know what I mean? He's looking.
My dad always told me, it's like, you're in a fight, just hit the biggest guy as hard as you can in front of everybody. He goes, 1, 2, 3. Everybody else will respect you because you knocked him the hell out or you're going to get your ass beat. Either way.
Right.
And That's true. But the fact about the quiet guy, those quiet guys are the ones you got to look out for. The ones that run their mouth like little yipping dogs, those are the guys you just love to punish.
Yeah.
Yeah, now just flash back to college bouncing and running the bars too, man. Thanks for that one.
Well, let's get into background a little bit in terms of not necessarily your background in cooking, but has your life experiences and the work that you've done, which is, you have one of the more interesting histories, I think, of people out there. How has that prepared you to be a competition barbecue cook?
Oh man, that's a good question. My background, like nobody knows this. Well, my mom does, a few other select people, but my background is like guy who's slightly smart, went to college, got 3 degrees, like a dissertation and like a residence away from being called Dr. Stephenson. And just one day I flipped the script, decided, yeah, I'm tired of this. I'm gonna go build restaurants for my father. My father did that all over the world. It seemed like went and did that. Swore I'd never run a restaurant. One of the things was I'd always cooked. We grew up cooking. That was one of the big things that brought people together. I always say, you go to a wedding, they cooked a pig, in Eastern North Carolina. You went to a funeral, they cooked a pig. And it was always something I just thought was cool. I enjoyed doing it, enjoyed learning. I was that little kid. I annoy the hell out of somebody and they'd say, go in and burn some wood, go put some of that stuff underneath there. Do this, don't do that. So, I took what I learned from that and the restaurant stuff, and I was like, let's have some fun. So we started building drum smokers. Somebody goes, hey, you ought to compete. And I'm like, sure, why not? And we went out on those drum smokers. We competed on those cans, those early cans. And I think we won 3 or 4 times on homemade smokers, which I always thought was really cool. And then I found out, hey, I like competing. I've always liked competing all my life. It didn't really matter what it was. I was like building something, competing, socialization. Barbecue's just taking me to places that I probably would have never been if I hadn't, just kind of had that basis of me growing up, that going to school, college, starving, putting myself through college, helping out cooking pigs, and later on in the restaurant business, cooking and watching how businesses ran while building stuff. And later on, competing like I always like to do. And I think the turning point is when, I brought in Roxanne. And as everybody knows, it's Redneck Scientific. It's really Roxanne. It's not a whole lot to do with me. That really made it fun. My sister is like probably, I hate to just crush you and about 8 other people. My sister's probably my best friend, because she's the one that gets me. She's the one that can tolerate me. That's the big thing. I always say, where I'm at Jerry wise, it's like that's a half Jerry. And, I can just be, I'm going to put it nicely, I'm just a dick sometimes because what flies out of my mouth is the gospel, but it's like, could you have said that a better way? And I think Roxanne, in competing and stuff, this transition where it just took what I did and all my friends, the rawness, Roxanne's kind of mellowed me out and cooking and stuff. And, I guess that's kind of got us where we are today. Now we've gone, from competition to catering to food trucks to restaurants to 3-ring circus, kind of everything going on right now.
You never want to go full Jerry.
No, you don't. I'm just an asshole. And
I think you're a little too hard on yourself.
No, it's not like I just sit there and hammer you because, your kids are ugly. I don't do that, but I'm just like, I will just flat out hurt your feelings. I've done it to you before. And I feel like a jackass later, but it's like, God, you know where I stand. I just, either you like it or you don't like it. But
well, one of the fun things that we're going to do with this is that Kim and Leanne are going to do some episodes where they interview teammates and dive into the teammates' perspective on the Pitmasters. That ought to be fun. Roxanne's near the top of the list.
Yeah, I can see where this is going, man.
They think you're an asshole now. Wait till that.
Roxanne's going to be really interesting. You'll have the definite hits. Whereas I'm like, what? I'm like, me and Brad just kill his laugh. Me and Brad were talking about it. I'm like, hey, I'm into teams, man. I was like, where are you at? And he goes, I don't know. I think he's holding out.
He probably is.
Out. I think Brad will hold out. I think he is. Just give you a heads up. Because I told him I was just going to play with you, but it was like the special holiday episode. Of course, I'll get bumped for somebody else, but it's okay.
Not yet. So I know you to be a pretty superstitious and ritualistic person.
That's a bunch of shit.
Yeah. So what are some of the habits and rituals and superstitions that you have during barbecue competitions?
Oh God, I'm so OCD. I mean, it's like that's my thing. Is I think that's why my sister makes the perfect partner, because she just shakes her head and she gets it. I mean, I'm not superstitious. Everybody thinks I'm superstitious. It all started with the Superman shirt, and I still do the Superman shirt just to piss people off, because I know it pisses people off. But the Superman shirt kind of started out as I was wearing it one day. We won a grand champion. I wore it again. We won a grand champion. It's like, well, there's something to it. But also I would always not put that shirt on until I started cooking. So when I light my fire, I go ahead and throw the shirt on. And that basically means to see the shirts means I'm business time. And at contests, a lot of times people think that I am kind of stuck up, and don't really want to talk to people. And it's really kind of that, it's not a superstition, but once I put that shirt on, it's like from 8:30 on Friday night to 1:30, you know me. I mean, how come you're like one of my best peeps out there, and I may talk to you once or twice that morning. It's just, I'm out there for business. I mean, I'm out there for competition. I enjoy the social aspect of it, but when it comes down to it, I treat barbecue like business, just like everything else. It's I'm out there to win. And I think a lot of times with the superstition stuff, it's just because I'm so repetitive. I've got some OCD. I probably got OCD. I mean, which my psychiatrist you want to talk to. But like, I do the same thing over and over again, and I do it for a reason. Is I minimize the variables that can affect what I'm doing. And when something is off, I can go back and look at those variables, as long as I do them again and again and again, and figure out what I did wrong. So most of the time, like when we get that, three top 10 calls, and you're like, sweet, I stuck it in the, top 5, top 3, and hell, maybe I won today, and then all of a sudden they call you for 9th. That way, when you go and you get your score sheet, you can kind of go back to those variables and figure out, well, this is what happened. I know what happened. And 9 times out of 10, I know, just like I know when I bite my piece of chicken, I know if I won or lost the contest. It's like at the end of the contest, doing these, you want to call them superstitions, these variables or whatever. Mm-hmm. I know what I did wrong. And I can just allows me to move on to the next episode and remind myself not to do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, you know me, lighting the smoker, it's got to be a certain way, this stuff's got to be in a certain, it's like, don't come in there and put something in my cook table. Don't come in my trailer. Don't hang out. Don't talk to me.
I like to violate as many of those as I possibly can.
People like to do that. They like to push me. But the worst thing you can do at a contest is, well, 2 things. It's one, get me drinking, because it's like, oh, it's going to throw him off. It calms me down. And the second thing you don't want to do is don't piss me off. It's game over, man. It's there's like 3 variables that is always accounted for really successful cooks. And my winning percentage goes up. My kids are there, number 1. Number 2, if my mom's there, my winning percentage goes way up. You've been there several times, and she's there. It's like, oh, shit. I used to always ask that, man, your kids coming? Your mom coming? It's like, those variables help me out. And then the third variable people didn't know, it's pissed me off. As much as I love cooking against the best in the world, not to overlook some of the local contests that we do, but where I get really amped up is when I go and I see the good cooks there. I see you're out the back of my trailer. Me and I locking my balls with you. And you do the same thing. And the worst thing you could do is, if I'm in that situation, I got my kids, I got my mom, it's piss me off. Please piss me off. game over. And it really is game over when you piss my sister off, because piss Roxanne off. It's, whew. And you know, Roxanne, I'm probably, you know, this is where she's probably going to throw it back in my face, but Roxanne's probably got worse temper than me.
I'm not saying anything, but
Yeah, smart man.
I know that your life in round competitions has changed a lot since the restaurants opened and everything, but your week before a competition, is your organization still the same as it used to be and doing the same things over and over?
No, and it's evident, man. You know, somebody asked me this weekend, "Are you going to compete this year?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm going to try." You know, and that's the past like 2 or 3 years I've been trying. I've not been in my groove, and my groove used to start like on Tuesday nights. I had a specific pattern, and this is where the superstition, the OCD stuff came in. It started on Tuesday nights, and I set myself up so when I got to a competition, I was ready to go. It didn't matter if I got to a competition 11 a.m. in the morning or 6 o'clock at night, I was ready to go. And now I find myself showing up to contests without rubs and sauces and bags of charcoal. I've had to borrow charcoal and stuff. And I'm not as organized because I'm not as focused. And I realize that. And that's been one of my things that last year, whatever you want to call it, 2020,
Mm-hmm.
year I found myself being able to focus a little bit. You know, all of a sudden, you know, we just had that limited amount of contests. But I was looking at Roxanne, and every week I was changing variables, and I was trying to change the variables to try to, you know, get to Kansas. My thing was to get to Kansas this year and make a great showing out there at Kansas. And we changing variables every week, you know, and I'm tracking. When I mean tracking, I'm tracking. You know, I weigh out everything. You know, I weigh out my rubs and spices and stuff, and what changes I make, and I document it, I write it down, I log it. And, you know, for like 6 contests, we were just changing stuff. And I'd look at somebody and they'd be like, "Well, how'd you do today?" And I'd be like, "I still remember how I cook meat, and I still know my tenderness, but I was like, we either finished first or sixth." You know, I said, because I was trying different things. And mostly it was sixes this year. You know, we were in 6th place. God knows it's like you with your run of RGCs. You know, that's how it was, first or sixth. It was way more sixes at first. But I found myself kind of getting back into that groove. And the other thing I found myself getting back into, me and Roxanne, she was doing a lot less talking and a lot more smiling. So I was like, wow, we're starting to hit a groove here. So I felt good about this year, even though it was a short year. I feel bad. We went all the way out to Kansas, and I pulled a jack, and it's just, I don't know, man. It's one of those things is that I woke up, I light my smoker, and everybody thinks I put my meat on early. I don't, but I light my smoker, get it all hot. And I woke up and went out my trailer. I got out there early just to kind of go over things, make sure I was in the right place. And I walk out my trailer, and my smoker's at like 500 degrees. And you know, the backwoods, it's at 500 degrees. God, I just opened the door, 30 something degrees outside. And I'm like, this son of a bitch ain't going to cool down for 2 hours. Mm-hmm. You know, it didn't cool down. I put my chicken on. You know, I turned in chicken, and chicken was good, but I was just like somewhat disappointed. But I went back over those variables after the cook and after we got our results, and I was like, even if I'd fallen asleep right there next to that smoker, it still would have done the same thing, you know. And I changed it. A lot of people that don't cook at 450 temperature and are not used to cooking at 500 degrees, you just ruin your stuff. And you know, it's happened to me twice now. The second year at the Jack, and then at this contest, major contest. So it's got me kind of rethinking, like right now, some of the stuff I want to do for next year and how I do it. But, that's my thought process, man. Like I said, we're always kind of adapting and stuff. And I felt this year, like I said, I felt a little spark. The past 3 years of competing have been tough. That first year of competing, hell, I don't even remember half of what I did when we opened up the restaurant. You know, I don't even remember half of what we did. And I think the results have shown the past few years. But.
Right on. Well, that's a good segue into our next question, which is about, you know, we talk a lot about successes when we talk about barbecue. Everyone wants to talk about this, talk about that. You know, you've had a lot of great success out of the American Royal. I've got to be there and cheer you on for a lot of that. But one of the things that I like to focus on is failures and how we have barbecue is a constant learning experience, and we always have failures that stick out in our mind that we learn something from that we can apply toward future cooks. Do you have a favorite failure of yours that helped you be successful later on?
Oh Jesus, where do you want to start, man? The time I got freaking hammered and was injecting, you know what I love to drink during the summertime, sweet tea vodka.
Yeah.
I mean, you can off a fifth of sweet tea vodka in an hour because that stuff's just devil's juice. But
As long as they're the Hardys in the morning, I don't care.
but I mean, I remember one of the times and it's probably you that did it. You know, we got into it, and I'm sitting there, and I'm injecting pork, music's blasting, I'm having a great old time, and I'm just sitting there, and you know, I was kind of calming down off my buzz, and I was like, wait a minute, I need to keep this going. You know, keep the flow going. I reached over there and just took like 3 big old gulps of my drink, and I was like gagging. I mean, I was puking, shit was coming out my nose. I had just consumed like half of my freaking pork injection. And I look at my pork and I'm just like, oh shit, I just liquored my pork, you know? And I learned that sweet tea and pork do not mix. You know?
No good.
Pork do not mix whatsoever.
Where was that at? What contest? Do you remember?
Luke, I don't. It was hot during the summer because I was drinking sweet tea vodka, not brown water.
I think I was there for that, but I think I might have been responsible. I don't know.
Yeah, well, you're partially responsible. This sweet tea vodka, usually most of those stories started out with you. Probably another one of my failures was, it kind of goes back to that first year we opened up the restaurant, or second year. I went to Urbana. Barbecue gives back. I pull in at like 8 o'clock at night. And of course, you and Billy Gillespie, and oh God, Jay Reeder was there, Mark Breen. I mean, it was just everything came together, and we're all backed up one another. I mean, you know, that was like the perfect freaking storm of shit that could go wrong. And it did. 8 o'clock at night, y'all are helping me prep my food and everything else, and I'm just like, yeah, man, we had a great old time. You met me with some gentleman Jack, and no, Billy did, and we were just having a great time. And I mean, we were up, it was 11:30, 12 o'clock, nothing real late or anything, but I remember just going to bed. I was just, man, I felt so good. I had worked so hard for so many months and got to that contest. And I remember just doing my normal thing. I woke up, and it was like 5:45, and I'm like, oh, let me go check, see how my meat's doing. Because, you know, I put my meat on earlier, and I go walking outside, open up my smoker, and I look, I'm like, oh, shit, I never put my meat on, you know? So we cooked hot and fast that day at Urbana. Got our butts handed to us. And, you know, it was a complete failure. You drive 8-9 hour round trip, and you know, for a contest, and that happens. But you just kind of roll with it. You know, I don't sit there and just go, it was the liquor's fault, or it's Luke's fault, or anybody
I
else.
blame Jay for that one. I wouldn't take the bullet on that one.
Oh, that was there were so many bad stories from that. Jay Reeder is one of the ones. If you ever do interview Jay, I want to be a part of it. I'd like to ask him questions too, be a part of the panel on that one.
I can't get him to commit.
Jay Reeder, commit. I did it for Luke. Do it for us. Do it, please, Jay.
I want to have him and Mark Breen on at the same time.
Oh, Mark, that'd be another great one too.
Nobody would understand a word.
I saw your unicorn, and your unicorn, Billy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I got an invitation to a competition that I don't really know if I need to speak too much about it, but Mark and Billy are going to cook together, and they're like, you need to come down and cook steaks. And I was like, no, I just need to come down and watch YouTube.
Absolutely. Oh my God.
I told him, I said, that would just be the best. Him and Mark, just, you know, I was like, that would be a whole lot better than just cooking and everything.
Oh my gosh, that'd be must-see television. I can't even imagine how amazing that is. Let's switch gears.
We've all had them. The thing I tell people about is that, you know, failures, you can either live with them or walk past them. You mentioned the Royal. We've had a great run at the Royal over the years, and I think part of that's attributed to the fact that I kind of got a feel, a pulse on what was going on out there, and like how to not offend judges versus how to make them happy, because it's impossible to make judges happy. You just try to. It's not offensive, man. I mean, I think Tuffy said that it's non-offensive. That's what you want to kind of go for. Now there's a lot of stuff, but I look back and like one year I lost by an appearance point. You know, my sister doesn't. You didn't play that stuff's like. I mean, you can photograph it, put on a magazine, and we lost by appearance point. I think it was the Blamer who we lost to, and you know, you just kind of like realize it, and you're like, well, that can just be the end of it, or that's just a motivation point. And I haven't forgot it, you know. I mean, but to know that, you know, I'd almost punched that hole in the ceiling that day out there and know I could do it again. I just kind of used my failure that day for motivation for the future stuff. So
Yeah.
I haven't.
Let's switch gears. Switch gears a little bit.
I think I've lost 3 American Royals by like less than 3 points total. Thank you, Judge Six, who said it was a 7 instead of an 8. It really doesn't matter because I'm the kickout scorer. Yeah, let me kick you in the balls. I felt then.
Yeah, but you did win. You guys did win the American Royal side dishes contest.
That was one of the best times that you and I, the Gov meaning my brother-in-law Sean Manley and my sister have had ever. It was horrible. We just, you know, the whole, and I'm talking about when the first year after the Royal left the bottoms, you know, it left Utopia and they brought us out there to, you know, freaking
Arrowhead
Stadium. And, you know, right away we knew we were in trouble with a bunch of stuff out there. Yeah, that was one of probably the better moments for me. That watching Roxanne 180 our first year at the Jack, I didn't have a good cook. I was just off. I knew I didn't win. I was just like, you know, dear God in heaven, just give us a call and a side, you know, one of those ancillaries. And damn, if Roxanne didn't, you know, just knock it out of the park or win at the Royal. You know, I think it was in dessert that first year.
Yeah.
And let's go rushing up there, and Roxanne's up there. And you know me, it's like somebody's like, Jerry, get up there on stage. I'm like, screw that. I was like, picture. But that Roxanne, man, she's had a lot of success in doing what she does.
Absolutely.
If Roxanne just did the same thing over and over, she would be unbeatable. She would be unbeatable. But she's like me. We're constantly changing our stuff and trying to do something new.
Yeah. Let's switch gears a little bit into gear and expenses. Competition barbecue isn't cheap. It is what you make of it, but once you taste a little bit of success, it becomes more and more expensive. What's one of the best or most worthwhile investments that you've ever made in competition barbecue? For those of you that can't see us, he just held up a bottle of Gentleman Jack.
Snake bite medicine. Snake bit me on the way in here this afternoon. Snake being work. Yeah, investment wise, I mean, there's several things I think that people need to understand about competition barbecue. One, and this is about 3/4, Jerry. One, you're never going to be successful. Never going to be successful to the extent that you want to be. So you have to realize that you're only going to be half good. I'm sorry. The best in the world gets beat. I watched the best in the world, people that I know are some of the best cooks I've ever seen in my life, that are meticulous, that don't make mistakes. I'm thinking about Tuffy right now. And I've seen just him get annihilated. And I've seen him just annihilate the field. So that's one of the things I just try to tell people. I mean, you're better off having a drug habit or trying to, you know, play par in golf than you are in competition barbecue. So with that caveat, you know, now that I've really got you motivated, wanting to get out there and cook in these events is that I think the biggest thing that you can invest in is basically, well, we'll start out with prepping first, like kind of how to prep for contests and stuff. The best thing that you can do is that it's not always the best materials that win. You don't have to have some imported chicken, free range stuff or anything like that. I believe you have to have a Wagyu brisket. All you guys out there beating your chest, telling me you're going to beat me with a Walmart brisket. I got money in my pocket, says you ain't, folks, and I'll take you to the bank all day. But, you need to invest in some equipment. It's not cheap. You're going to have probably a $4,000 or $5,000 investment right from the get-go, in equipment, decent equipment. Decent meaning you get on the drum parade right now, get on the drums and cook on the drums. If you go out and buy, like with me, I'm a backwoods guy. I bought a Backwoods Pro Junior. You start doing that, then you get into all the other stuff, the variables. I believe that you could cook out of a tent. I've won grand championships out of a tent, but I won a lot more out of a trailer. And I custom built my trailer, and we cooked in a hurricane and won a grand championship in that trailer. And I truly believe we won the grand championship because I built that trailer, never opened the doors, and cooked inside of one. So, I think you have to have like some good equipment, but you don't have to go out and buy a Class A motorhome. You don't have to go out and buy, the unicorn of smokers being a Jambo right now, J5, awesome smokers. You don't have to win and compete, but you have to, before you start investing, you need to realize, like what I said before, the caveat is, you're never going to get any more successful than you really think you are. You're probably going to be halfway successful. This is a really competitive sport. We're judged like gymnasts, although KCBS has the shittiest scoring system on record ever known to man. Can I just go ahead and publicly say that again? KCBS has the shittiest scoring system ever known to man. Yeah. And, that's part of the thing is that, like I said, I lost a royal to someone who just thought my food didn't look that good, that half point. You have to realize some of that before you go. Now, when we're talking about you get all this equipment, you get everything, and then what do you do? Well, what I'm going to tell you is what you do is go out and take a class. There are some classes out there with some knowledgeable folks that will answer your questions. They're going to basically take you, imagine them as we're a herd of sheep, and when you go to a class, you're a herd of sheep, and it's not that they're wolves, but they're sheepdogs. They're kind of pushing us in the right direction. Are they going to give you that straight direction, that path, of least resistance to right walking up and walking past them up on the stage? Possibly. Probably not, but possibly. They'll give you a foundation. So, go out and invest in a class. Don't go out and do multiple classes. Do your research, guys, do your research. Ladies, do your research, talk to some people, man. They'll lay it down like what you should do, who you should talk to and stuff like that. Invest in a class, spend some time, and then finally start working with the equipment you got, the knowledge that you kind of gathered, and start working on something. And it come down to your timelines and stuff like that. Work on some timelines and stuff like that. And then, the best thing that you could do is go to these contests with the expectation that, well, probably not going to win, but I need to get something from this. Here you go. This is the thing I want to tell people. There's two things at contests that are free. One is sleep. That's the biggest variable between who wins and who loses. The person who sleeps the most wins the most. That's freebie on Jerry Stephenson right there. Plain and simple. Dude that's not pounding out the liquor all night long. Dude that's not up socializing all night long. The dude that's not up all night long, or lady, sorry, I say dude a lot. That's that person that consistently wins, or you consistently hear their names and they walk on the stage. That's what you got to do. So that sleep is free. The second thing is advice. Find people that will give you advice. And I don't mean advice in like, well, what sauce you're using. There's some pecker knots out there. That's all they do is they want to know what everybody's doing. What's this and what's that? And not only are they like the scum of the earth, to me, it's just like, well, you guys, if you get caught in this, it's like, well, this guy's doing this all the time and stuff like that. You can kind of, lose focus. And just tell people avoid that. But go ask people with your food, cook a piece of brisket and afterwards go up to somebody and say, hey, will you try this and tell me what you think? That's the advice that's free. I do it all the time to people. And I'm not like, bring me a piece of chicken at 12 o'clock. Don't do that. Just keep it hot. Me and you've done it. We don't trade a lot, but we do. It's like, here, try this. What do you think? And, me and you're honest. It's like, especially like when I bite your brisket, Currituck, I'm like, Luke just beat me, and you just, how was it? You just don't go, it was good. You're like, dude, this is on point. And today you're not going to get rocked, I don't think you did beat me in brisket. It was where it should be. You didn't screw up that day. You did good. Mm-hmm. Kimmy dropped it, going to the judges tent. But that's the stuff. I tell people there's a monetary thing that you need to get into the barbecue is you need to have some decent equipment. It's hard to do like I did, build a smoker yourself and go in. It really is. I cut my learning curve out. I spent $3,000 on smoker I call Baby Girl that a bunch of dickheads kind of laugh at. But Baby Girl is named after my daughters. And they can kiss my ass up and down the highway and back. But I spent $3,000 on her and the dividends that Baby Girl. I don't know how many GCs we won on. I have over six figures in prize money we won on it, and then it started a whole barbecue restaurant.
Yep.
So there is a success story here. So I'm trying to give you the good, and trying to give you the bad about competition barbecue in terms of investment. That like I said, it's a tough thing. And I think the other thing too is everybody thinks it's money. There is a lot of money, but there's a lot of time. There's a lot of time. A lot of time.
We talked about the expensive stuff. What's a purchase of $100 or less that has most positively impacted your barbecue life? Can't say Thermapen either.
Yeah, I know. That was like the sucker question that you always like.
I'm looking for something that like anybody can take from us as professionals, but they can take and be like, wow, that really did help out my cook, and it's just something small,
Yeah, well, the Thermapen is really the brilliant one because I just need a Thermapen for Pro. That's all I really use my Thermapen for.
Mm-hmm.
I cook with time, and I can kind of tell where my stuff's at. Man, that's the whole thing. It's going to sound like I'm kind of avoiding the question, but there's not one thing that I think that if I show up to a contest, it's like, oh my God, I don't have this. I can't live without. I really think, less than $100, man, you're kind of putting yourself in a hole. I would say right now for $169, go buy one of those new Cambros, the lightweight Cambros. Get rid of your old Cambros. You can get one for like $169, $170. Buy one. They weigh like 5 pounds, whereas a regular Cambro weighs about 50 pounds. And most folks know what a Cambro is. I think this last weekend, some guy was asking what a Cambro was. And a Cambro is not only do we use it in competition, but we use it in our catering business. It's a cooler. It's a vertical cooler that allows us to slide stuff into and hold stuff. Not only can we hold stuff hot after we cook it, we can put stuff in there cold. With me, I put coleslaw in ours in a pan of ice sometimes for caterings instead of caking it in a refrigerator. And it's the same way with your food. It's good to hold your food in cold.
Mm-hmm.
Your food in hot. So $169. Sorry, dude. I really.
No, you could have easily said Redneck BBQ Lab sauce. That was.
Well, no, that's what I said. I don't want to back people in the corner. Hell, I'll be honest with you, man. I just had this conversation. Let me. I do got one thing I want to say. Buy a good knife. You can get a good knife, especially this time of year. Go buy a good fillet type knife to trim with. There's several out there. My preference right now is a boning knife, a good boning knife. Dahlstrom makes an excellent boning knife. Go out there and look. The kind of curved tip one, 6 inches. Awesome. Yep. Everything. So less than $100. That's my pro tip of the week. Pro tech tip of the week. There you go. Yeah, it's all strong. There you have it.
I like it. See, you got there.
Next year said Gunther.
You got there. See. Well, let's get into. You've been around this game for a while. So, who has impacted your life the most in competition barbecue?
Well, I think that again is kind of a loaded question because I just don't go to one person. There's all these people. I think what it is with me is that there's all these people, and you and I share a lot of them. We talked about them. There's a lot of people out there that have impacted me. Tommy Houston, huge. Not only competition, the way he treats people, but the way he runs his business. Tommy told me a lot of things on what not to do and how to do. Business-wise, Jay Reeder, Jack Chavis, Bubba Jack, good friends of mine. They've helped me, impacted my life in terms of my business.
Me too.
And in terms of competition barbecue, there's these folks that you always look up to. And, one of my favorites, Tuffy Stone. And really, Tuffy is gracious winner, gracious loser. And a lot of times, we need to learn as competition cooks and society in itself is when we lose, be it a contest or an election, we need to learn that we need to lose as gracefully as we win. And I think Tuffy bestowed that upon me. That relationship that he had with his father, George, was unbelievable to me. I just love that. That's one of the ones where, with me and my sister, I kind of see it like that. It's like this symbiotic relationship, and I just absolutely love that. Tuffy is the epitome of someone to look up to in barbecue, not because he's Darren Worth, the GOAT. Darren's a great guy too. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying Darren, you're a bad cook. You're fucking awesome. I'm sorry, love you. But Tuffy is not the fact that he wins, but how he loses. He's always shake your hand. He's always there. I watched him help people in need, stuff like that. And I think Tuffy has affected my life a lot in terms of that. A lot of people out there who have helped me along the way that I probably you've helped me. I think we've helped each other.
Oh yeah.
A lot of ways, just bouncing stuff off of one another. And let me get this off my chest thing. I think that's the big thing sometimes, just getting stuff off your chest. But and I'm always looking the next person that kind of helps me, and I don't mean helps me in terms of like makes me win or something, but helps me in terms of being a better person. I think that's my thing. Just try to be a better person, be a better cook, be a better person.
I think a lot of barbecue people, I think you're the first one to say that. I think it's inherent in a lot of what we do and how everyone refers to the barbecue family. And there's just a lot of great lessons to learn from a lot of great people around the country.
Yeah, and we all help each other out in one way or the other. It seems like some more than others.
Yeah,
there's a bunch of like I kind of fronted to before. There's a bunch of leeches out there, and then there's a lot of people out there that kind of put on a front and are completely different, and they truly are. And I think, like I said, one of the things is I am what you get. There's nothing, I ain't hiding shit from no one. I am what I am. I'm not going to apologize unless I actually do. And I have before with you. I have said something I've transgressed against you. But I think a lot of times, with the family deal, is we pitch in and help when needed. And that encouragement, that kind of way to go, or that, hey man, I'm kind of having a problem with this. Let me bang some stuff against your head on this. I think that's that thing that's kind of invaluable.
Yeah. What do you think's missing from competition barbecue these days?
The backyard guys. Seriously. One thing KCBS, Kansas City Barbecue Society, is getting right now is they kind of focused on it. And I believe a lot of that had to do with what happened out in MABA, Mid-Atlantic Barbecue Association, and like what you did, and starting this backyard kind of stuff up. Luke, you're on the board, and I know the back, we had talked about tiered systems and backyard teams 6 years ago, like when you made me be on the board. And I think KCBS has just woken up to this and got their heads out of judges' asses and said, hey, you know what? We kind of need these cooks and stuff. And they realized that, like, I hope they realize that the future of barbecue is not in Slovakia, God bless it. It's like Christianity, spread it over the world. I get it, but you better have your base in Israel, because if you let Israel go, you ain't got Christianity anymore. Hallelujah, praise the Lord, Pastor. But I think the future is these backyards. Man, seriously, man,
No.
I love backyard cooks. Great example this year, Kinsey Q, Kinsey Q Wood Crew. I just absolutely love that. Love them to death. You know why? A 13-year-old girl went to a backyard contest and made a bunch of grown men cry and bitch, whine, and complain to the KCBS board. And I'm like, yeah, get her, girl. Get them. I love it. Let me tell you something. It's one of the things that sparks me. It's just, because my two girls cook. My girls are right now chomping this SCA. They don't want to cook KCBS. They want to cook steaks. They want to get in this contest cook. And I think that backyard thing is really important. I think that's the thing is when I first started out, there was a lot of contests that you and I remember. They're like $150, $200 entries. Now they didn't pay, but they were affordable. You could get in. A lot of times the bigger teams would go past those contests because there was only 25 people, and they go to a contest where there was 70 people, And a lot of the backyard teams, the younger teams and stuff like that, they kind of flourished in there, And it's tough to compete. I mean, this goes back to that thing where I'm talking about. You have to realize that if you get a competition barbecue, you're going to be a lot less successful than you think. Is because when you go up against a team that has competing 25 to 50 times in a year, you're going to lose, because it's not that they might be better equipment. It's because they're not making mistakes, And in the backyard, that's one of the things. Everybody makes mistakes. It's who made the less mistakes wins. That's how it used to be in barbecue.
Mm-hmm.
And it still is today. But, I think the future's in the backyard, Get rid of these damn burger competitions. Throw that crap out. You don't focus on that. Focus on 4 cheap meats, Let these barbecue guys and ladies and kids, especially in the backyard, kind of get into that stuff. Get flourish from there. It's great to see. Like I said, this is the first year that KCBS recognized the backyard teams of the year. This is maybe one of the most embarrassing things in this world. Is a check I still haven't cashed from KCBS. We came in team of the year in 6 to 10 contests. But let me tell you something. That's a huge accomplishment to me, because
Absolutely.
we could and did that well. I'm like, damn, maybe if I'd been out in Springfield or someplace like, maybe we'd have done better if I cooked some more. So that's what I tell the backyard folks. I wish there was more contests for those folks. Getting back to the backyard things, I think the future of barbecue is that if we don't build our teams up and build that base back up, that we're going to lose it. And I think the base is those backyard teams. They're the ones that are hungry and eager and ready to do it, but they are not ready to step into the ring with let's just call it with Brad. I'm going to freaking butcher your name. The Linagers, the Shears, the Worst, the Pierces, Jesus help me here. Who finished in the top 5 this year? I'm just throwing certain balls. They're not ready to step in the ring with these folks. And like I said, I think in order to flourish, we need to grow from within.
No, I agree. I think that's That's a great segue into our rapid fire segment. 'Cause I don't want to keep you any longer, and we're definitely going to have to do a part two because I've only asked you about 25% of the questions I wanted to ask you.
Yeah, we got to do this live.
I know. Next time we're together, we're going to tape the second part of this with a bottle of Jack.
Well, I think we do. I think we need to sit down, and I want to invite Jay Reeder. Matter of fact, WWE promo here. Jay Reeder, I'm calling you out right now. Me, you, and Lukey in the ring. Mano, a mano, a mano. I don't really know what you call that. Many manos.
Trace Manos.
Come on. We'll come to your place, Reeder.
That would be amazing.
That was my WWE promo. Call Jay Reeder out. No, it would be. Yeah. I think that's one of the things. Roundtable might be good.
Yeah, I think we're going to do a few of them. We've started fleshing those out and doing, I don't want to copy another program that did it by each meet. We'll see. There's some different topics we can get into. But when we hit these rapid fire ones, I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah, I was about to say, dude, copy, emulate. Dude, we can't touch this.
So, Jerry Stephenson, what do you see about barbecue on social media that upsets or bothers you?
Judge forums.
Well,
no, I'm seriously, judge forums. It's just like, you have the judge in there that knows their stuff. You have the judge that doesn't know anything. Then you have the judges that know everything. And it flows week to week. I mean, as well as I do. I look out the backside of my trailer. 9 times out of 10, I go, we're going to have a good day or have a bad day, sis. And she just looks out the trailer and they look like Noah's Ark coming in there and she can tell the same thing.
Yep. You see those faces? The walking 7 coming.
And let me tell you something, too. One of the things, and you do the same shit, I know a lot of people do. You see those judges, and the first thing I do, I go to my bag of tricks because most contests are won in the last 10 minutes of the contest and then in the days before the contest where you're prepping, you're getting ready. That's just misnomer. The cook is when you win it. No, it's at the end. And that's where I can bring out my bag of tricks and do what I can do. And you know what I mean?
Absolutely. So do you have a favorite pre, during, or post-competition meal?
Yeah, I love Chinese food and salad afterwards. That's one of the things I don't eat a lot of meat. I mean, I truly eat a lot of vegetables and a lot of Asian food. I mean, that's probably my favorite thing is a salad and some ice cream after a contest. Most people that know me, they'll look, if they ever saw me in my trailer, about the time I get to port, I'm throwing a piece in my mouth, taking about 2 or 3 bites and spitting it out. Same thing with my brisket. And they're like, oh, his brisket sucks. And then it's like 180. I'm like, no, it didn't suck. I just can't eat it. I'm to the point. I'm taking 2 or 3 bites. I'm looking for 2 or 3 things, and I'm thinking about what I need to change or what I need to leave behind. That's it.
Yeah. What's your favorite present that you like to give to people?
Oh, God. Bottle of Redneck BBQ Lab competition sauce.
Spelled incorrectly.
Yes, SAWSC trademark. Actually, it's copyrighted. It is copyrighted. But that's one of the things I laugh about is that a lot of people, I do the backyard welcome intro class whenever I get enough people together wanting to do it. It's not for you. Like, folks, let me let you in on something. Luke's tried to take my class like 2 or 3 times. I won't let him take it. It's not like for the Lukes of the world. It's for the teams that are kind of struggling. I try to just kind of get them on the right path. And I show them what they do. And it's one of the most frustrating and rewarding things in the world is when they start calling out stuff, especially in chicken. And these people are beating my ass with my recipe, my sauce, and my and I'm like, this sucks. My business partner's like, you do not try to sell our stuff. I'm like, hell no, I like to win. I don't like to sell it. I use some other stuff.
So this question, I thought about not asking it to you because I believe that you literally have one. But if you could have a gigantic billboard anywhere with anything on it, getting a message out to millions or billions, what would it say or why?
You look, That was not me just taking a drink, but your Zoom just kind of said something. All I heard, if you had a big vagina dildo, what would you do? It was like, and then it sounded like the teacher from Peanuts. I swear it said vagina dildo. I know you not ask vagina dildo.
Gigantic billboard.
A gigantic billboard. See? You thought I was kidding when I said a big, gigantic billboard. Like, for what?
A message that's getting it out to millions or billions. It can be inspirational. It can be anything.
Oh, man, be patient. Chill the fuck out. We get one ride in life, man. Spread the love, not the hate. Period. End of story.
Love it. That's a great one.
You know, in our restaurant, that's the one great thing is I get to mesmerize people with food, and they listen to me because of the food. And that's one of the messages that I always say. It's just so much easier to love than it is to hate. You spend so much less energy loving people than you do hating people. And, you know, there's a few people out there I wouldn't piss on if they're on fire, but I can count them on my hand. There's so many more that I love. And the ones that are on my hand, you know, that I'm like, wouldn't piss on if they're on fire. Sometimes I think about, like, you know what, man, you need to love them. And at the same time, I'm like, screw those guys, man. Let them burn.
All right, man. Well, thank you for being on here. Last question. What is an unusual habit or an absurd thing that you love?
An unusual habit or absurd thing that I love. You know, midget wrestling? No.
It's a pretty good one. This is actually...
We joke about that.
This is where I learned about Tijuana Mamas from Donnie Teal.
Oh, no. A legend with the Tijuana Mamas.
Yeah.
I saw Mr. Teal a little while ago. Nah, man. I don't think I really have any absurd habits. You know, somebody may look at it like, you know, some kind of weird I do or something, but I think I'm kind of normally abnormal sometimes. But
trying to pinpoint one.
You just spit it out, man. You got one. Why do you gave me like loaded question? What do you got on me?
I don't have anything really on you.
What do you think is like one of the most absurd things that I do? Seriously.
I know that you have a lot of weird stuffed ducks in your house, and that bothers me.
Yeah, I'm the dude that likes to go shoot ducks, gut deer, and then turn around and bake a souffle from memory, you know? At the same time, recite stuff from, you know, Hamlet. I am kind of a weird dude. I'm the dude that you want in the bar when you bet some dude playing, you know, the video trivia at like BW3, Buffalo Wild Wings. I'm that idiot savant that'll just sit there and run the table and then kiss his girlfriend on the way out the door.
Well, we're going to leave it at that. Well, man, thank you for being here. Do you want to tell people where they can find you or highlight any sponsors you have?
Oh, Lord, that's really cool, man. I mean, I want to say thanks to my sponsors. Everybody sees that all the time, but you know and I know how I am with my sponsors. There's a lot of people out there that like do this, do that, but there's a few people out there that, man, over the years have been great to me, and they are part of my success. Bob Trudak, and I murder your name too. Barbecue Guru, man, thank you guys for supporting us. Your controllers and stuff, I use them all over the place. In my restaurant, when we've had smokers break, it's Barbecue Guru to the restaurant, our commercial stuff. Royal Oak Barbecue, Mike Stone used to be there, Mike's not. Royal Oak Barbecue, Royal Oak Charcoal, we use it in the restaurant. I mean, I've got right back here, there's like 12 pallets of Royal Oak Charcoal just sitting on the floor. You know, thank you to Royal Oak Charcoal for that sponsorship. Redneck BBQ Lab, the sauces and the rubs, the same stuff we use in competition. We did bottle up. We're using them at the restaurant, and I knew it was inevitable. It sucks, but to, like, you know, give your kids up to the world and say, here they are, use them. But I truly love it. These folks, the amateurs, not the pros. The pros never send me any or pictures or anything. They just beat my ass. But the amateurs, man, they send me these pictures of stuff they created. That is so cool to me to watch somebody like go to our YouTube channel and you know what I mean. Like your cantaloupe pie is like trending right now. Your mom's cantaloupe pie. That was. I ate it and I was like, remember when I ate it and I was like, dude, this is one of those things people are going to hate or love, and I loved it. It was just so fucking cool. No words about it. But that's what the cool thing is with me is I get to see people out there in their backyards doing this, and they're swinging the fence, man, making some stuff that I'm just like, wow, that's so cool. I'm a part of that. I like that.
Right. Well, if anybody is ever down in North Carolina on the I-95 corridor, it is worth your time to go to the Redneck BBQ Lab. I've eaten there many times now, and I think about the sausage pretty much every day.
Well, think about the pastrami beef rib that you and I shared. It's like this gay lover moment that I'm going to have with you. The pastrami beef rib that you and I shared at Deep River Brewing while drinking homemade, the best homemade craft beer in Johnson County is in Deep River. Don't go anywhere else. Everything else is trash. Just go there. You and I sat there and shared sweet potato beer and freaking had that pastrami rib. And we look around, and me and you, remember it was like 3 pounds I brought. It was some godly amount. And we look around, there's like all these people at the table just salivating. You remember that? That was a nice moment. And you like, you want some? And they descended on us like, just came in and started ravaging.
I really didn't want to offer it to anybody. It was so good. I've never had anything like it.
No, that was special. That's my.
Love the way you couched it. Thank you again for being here and for doing this. And we'll definitely do a round 2.
Yeah, like I said, man, I think we need to do it. And I'm calling you out, Jay Reader, specifically you, Jay Reader. Get off the couch. Come on, step into the ring.
Thanks a lot, Jerry.
Okay,
thank you for listening to Pitmaster, an Old Virginia Smoke podcast. Be sure to subscribe and like the podcast, rate the podcast, and to share it with your friends. Also, be sure to check out the Old Virginia Smoke YouTube channel as well. We'll have another episode for you next week featuring the incomparable Sterling Ball from Big Papa Smokers. For companies interested in advertising, please contact Old Virginia Smoke directly via www.oldvirginiasmoke.com. Pitmaster, an Old Virginia Smoke podcast, is edited by Chris Sedenka. Pitmaster, an Old Virginia Smoke podcast, is a property of Old Virginia Smoke, LLC. All rights reserved. Copyright 2021.
Old Virginia,